Hello and welcome to another episode of a football chat show. I believe this is episode 7. Done well to get here. Hello to my co-host Jamie. He's back this week.
Yeah, I recovered from not irritable bowels, just a shit stomach really. But I'm back and raring to go.
Back and raring to go. Probably not after the week Manchester United have had, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Again, I was just gonna preface it. We're on video again today.
Don't hold back, do you? Just straight into the pain.
But no, again, we've got video again today, so that's all good. See how it works out this week. Maybe revert back next week, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, I think it's time to just dive straight into it. There's not much transfer news going around apart from maybe Raheem Sterling, but no one's really that bothered about him anymore, are they? So it doesn't really matter. Let's dive straight into it. It was a big week of Premier League football. Obviously, we previewed it last week, me and Jacob. With Liverpool Watford, the 12:30 kickoff, getting back after the international break. I was nervous for it, and evidently I had no reason to be nervous for it. It was a demolition job by Liverpool, wasn't it? An absolute demolition job.
Yeah. What did you and Jacob predict it as?
I looked at it and I thought it was going to be quite close. I thought maybe we'd nick it like 1-2-0. Like I didn't think, because I just thought that new manager bounce was going to be massive for them, but obviously it just didn't happen. He said what he said was, I want a performance, and if I get performance, I don't care. Is basically his thing, and he didn't get that because they were rubbish. Like I was watching it and I just kept thinking of him going, I just wanted a performance, and I was like, well, you don't got one, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like they were rubbish. They were awful.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
No, the new manager bounce was just not a thing. I did see quite a funny tweet. It was relating to Newcastle, but it was like, Newcastle are so bad their new manager bounce only lasted 2 minutes, and I was like, that's quite a good one. And I was like, Watford are so bad they didn't have one. Like they had it in training, if anything. Yeah. I mean, did you watch it? What are your
just walked in and went dilly ding dilly dong, and then yeah, that was it.
It's kind of.
No, I didn't watch it, but it just made me worried for this weekend. I was, because I didn't watch that, and then kind of was it at 3 o'clock? It wasn't, was it? It was.
We were 12:30. No,
yeah, you were on before. So I had BBC Sport giving me the updates on Twitter, and just like goal after goal, Bobby Firmino on fire. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, you've got Leicester. They're really porous this season. They can't not concede. It'll be fine. I was actually really confident this weekend, but no, I didn't watch it. But by all accounts, big performance from Liverpool, and Watford needs to find their feet again. Otherwise, Ranieri is going to be gone in the record time.
Yeah, there was a stat the first half we had 83% of possession in the first half, and it's just like it was unreal. It was like at one point it popped up. It was like we completed like 200 passes and they had like 30. It was like, oh my god, like it was like playing a team from League One. Like they were really bad. It was weird because we were talking last week and we were saying Watford have some good players like Ismail Sarr, Dennis, Sissoko. They're all players that should be playing at a high level.
Ben Foster, I'm joking.
Ben Foster, I was actually going to take it on to him in a minute and talk about him, but no, I just wanted to finish with that. And I thought Watford were rubbish. And it goes without saying Liverpool were good. Like it was one of them games. We took that lead really early on. Mo Salah with a beautiful little like outside the foot Trivella, whatever you want to call it, lovely little pass into Mane's feet was just sensational. It basically Foster came and went, I can't do that, and then he went, oh, I'll go back, but I can't go back. He was like, he was stuck in no man's land, so it was beautiful. But when we scored that, I was a bit like, have we scored really early and they're going to have a reaction and they're going to come back? But it just never happened. We scored then again just before half time. They didn't trouble us at all. We had Kelleher in goal. Wouldn't have even told you he was playing.
Oh, did you? Wow.
He could have sat down and read the newspaper.
Of course, it was just after internationals.
Yeah. He was fine whenever he as I said, he's coming close to being the best number 2 in the league for me. I know that's probably a bit of Liverpool bias, but he definitely brings.
For me, it's still Areola. I think to have Fabianski and Areola as your two.
Does Areola not start?
No.
Does he not?
He started today in the Europa League.
I mean, to be fair, then it's probably Areola, but I think Kelleher's not far behind. There is obviously the case for Dean Henderson, but he's been a little bit not as consistent as you'd like him to be as a number 2.
He's played once this season, I think, because he had COVID at the beginning, and David De Gea has just been ridiculous this whole season. So
Yeah.
there won't be a lot of chances for him this season to, unless De Gea makes some like proper howlers. But even when he did last season, the season before, Solskjaer stuck with him for a while. So it would take a lot to knock De Gea from where he is now.
It's difficult to, isn't it? Because he is evidently the best keeper you've had in a long while. And there's no point in knocking him. But no, Kelleher was good when he got called upon. Trent, no complaints from anyone really. Like it was one of them ones. Like,
you can't really complain when you've beaten a team 5-0.
No, exactly. And if we had conceded, I'd have gone, there's a complaint there, but we didn't. And it's one of them ones. It's like it's too perfect. You know what I mean? It's like it's so good for us. So I was really pleased. There's not much to say apart from Mo Salah is just an absolute joker right now. Like,
yeah, he's
just on some scintillating form at the moment. Like we were saying, my dad came and watched it with me. He came down for the week for the day, and we said we were like, it's like he's learnt the skill moves on FIFA. He's never dribbled this well. And I think a lot of people, if they hear this, might go, "What do you mean?" But it's always felt like Salah's never 100% been comfortable with the ball at his feet. In that sense, like he'll run at them. He's always direct. He'll always go to take someone on. But it's always a very unconventional take on. Like it'll bounce off his knee, and it'll fall into his path. Do you know what I mean? But it's now like he's learned, I can play football. Do you know what I mean? Like, why have I not been doing this before? And he's like at that level, above what he could have been recently, like where he has been recently. So it's just unreal to watch.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair.
I do want to touch on this. Ben Foster's caught a bit of flack, that's what I'd say, a bit of flack because of his YouTube channel, Cycling GK. Yeah, he uploaded the video and deleted it within half an hour. What are your opinions on it, like in general? I just want to touch on it.
I do follow him. I don't think he deleted it because of like anything. I think it was like a copyright thing.
Really?
I think he said that on Twitter or something. I feel like I've seen that. I think it's back up now. I'm not sure. But
if it is, I need to watch it because I did want to watch it.
I'll have a quick look because I feel like I read that he hang on. I've forgotten what his podcast is with the Cycling GK.
Yeah, that's the one.
Because I'm so sure that I read it. Maybe I didn't. Oh, no, to be fair, it's not there. So
yeah, it is. Oh no, someone's re-uploaded it.
Yeah, so it's not there.
I had to delete the Liverpool vlog. Not my fault. I promise. An internal glitch with YouTube meant a lot of people wasn't able to actually watch the video, so it's been re-uploaded tomorrow night to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. As always, thanks to the support. So yeah, I'm just interested to hear your opinions on it because a lot of Newcastle, what have I read, said that a lot of Watford fans aren't very happy with it. I think it's unfortunate. I'm coming from a place of bias because I do enjoy his videos and I do quite like his podcast, and I don't really see an issue with it. Potentially the way he phrases things isn't right.
Well, I think his videos are great. I mean, they give you a little bit of an insight into what professional football is from the inside, which you don't get anywhere else really. I mean, there's been a lot more coverage from like BT and Sky with like, humanizing players a bit more, but nothing to the level of Ben Foster's channel, which is great for younger kids looking to go into football, seeing what it is and that kind of thing.
I didn't think I'd like it, but I do like it.
It's great. Like, I watch all the videos.
I assume as a Watford fan, it must be horrible watching your team get pumped and then seeing him put out a video where he's like, "Oh, what's up, guys?" You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah, I mean, the thing is, most of the way that his content runs now is that the whole video is the build up to the game. So it's not like the game happens in the middle or at the beginning, and the rest of it is him being all cheery after being battered or whatever. I mean, he's a goalkeeper. He's not going to be happy conceding 5, is he? But
no.
So the whole thing will be him training, traveling to the game, and then just pre-match, or him on the bench because he has been.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the video, he'll give away a shirt most days. But I mean, I can't see. There's not much. He doesn't leave much space for reaction. I think that's probably on purpose because if there was that space, I think that would cause more of a problem.
His description wasn't great the other day that I watched when I saw it because it was like he wrote like Mr. Mo Salah is on fire at the moment. What an absolute baller! And it was like you've just been pumped 5-0 after getting a new manager in. Your team's performed abysmally. I mean, he couldn't really do much for the goals, but at the same time, it's like you are the goalkeeper, so you've got to be a little bit more like careful of what you say. But I don't see why it's a problem having him turn on the camera and go like, "Look, lads, that was a bit of bit of a pasting we've taken there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously upset. I've got to do this because it's now his job, isn't it? Like, he's expected to do it. He's got an audience. He can't just not upload because of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't. It's almost like a sore loser then, isn't it? I'm not going to upload my content because I lost 5-0 and I was really upset in the change room. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a sore loser attitude. But I mean, yeah, I can see why you'd be frustrated. I wonder what I would think if Allison did it, or maybe not Allison, but maybe Hendo or something like that, when we got pumped 7-2 to Villa. It'd be interesting to see what like if he had gone in the change room and been like, I'm fuming, or like, do you know what? It would have been interesting. So I don't know if I'm the best place to say because of this. I just wondered what your thoughts on it were to start with.
Yeah, it is difficult because, as you said, neither of us are Watford fans, and none of our players have this kind of platform, or well, they do, but they don't use it. And I don't know. I enjoy it from a neutral point of view, obviously, because they're good quality videos, and as I said, they're a little bit of an insight into a world that we don't get to see very often. But you've got to consider it could be frustrating after being pumped.
Definitely, for sure.
But also, he isn't club captain. He isn't the face of. Is he?
Yeah, he was a couple of weeks ago. He wasn't this weekend. Sissoko took the armband, but he was a couple of weeks ago, which might be part of the reason people are a bit frustrated at that.
Because if he's captain, I think he has to portray Watford a bit more. If you're not captain, you are not the face of Watford FC, and he isn't anyway. Because I mean, at the end of the day,
he kind of made himself there, hasn't he, with his channel? Like, people know Watford, and people who don't necessarily follow English football but follow, like,
I mean, he said before that he's going to do this season and probably go to the MLS after this. So it's not like he's.
I know.
I think it'd be much different if he was a young player. And
yeah, for sure.
Because you just wouldn't. But
if that was just part of their thing, like if that just became part of their character, it wouldn't be that much of an issue. Do you know what I mean? It's an interesting one. Like, there's not too much to say on it. We'll move on. I think the next result we should talk about really is the United result. The 4-2 to Leicester. I was out down by the beach getting the goal updates. Because 3 o'clock kickoff, so I can't legally stream it, unlike you.
I found it legally, of course.
But yeah, I saw the highlights, and to be fair, looked like a cracking game, sounded like a cracking game from the sound of it, and the highlights of the match today were quite not flattering, but made it to look like a good game. So let's get your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Greenwood's goal, I saw Tielemans' goal, I saw not much else, to be honest. I didn't watch all the game. I think I turned it off at 2-1.
Rashford scored a good goal.
Yeah. We'll get to the positives in a minute, but the big problem with this game was playing Harry Maguire, I think.
Yeah.
It's my key kind of let down.
He got robbed, didn't he, for that first goal? Sorry, absolutely. The ball got stolen off of him, which was not ideal for him.
It's just, I mean, to be 12 yards away from a ball and just completely ball watching it is unfathomable. From on a team that press you as well. It's not like they don't press. Sure. And look, I don't think Harry Maguire is a bad defender. I did a few seasons ago, but I think he's grown into playing at the top level, maybe a bit more for England than United.
But I think what's odd is he doesn't have the pressure at England. Like, do you know what I mean? There's other players that are expected to perform around.
He's not captain for England, is he?
But at the moment, he wasn't when he came to United either. But when he was at England, there's like Foden is expected to perform at the moment. Kane is always expected to perform. Rice is at the moment. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of these other players that, because they're like fringes, are expected to perform. So there's a little bit of pressure off him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get that commodity when you play for United. You have every player has to perform.
I think it's unfair on him though. Like,
of course it is.
As you said, it was not ideal that he started, but at the same time, if you're called upon, you need to be 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know that you do have to be 100%. If you're that important of a player, you start if you think you're fit. But I don't think that Harry Maguire can say that he was ready to play that game. And if you can't trust your second and third choice centre-back to play a game over a really not fully fit first,
Yeah.
well, not even second choice centre back probably. Then sorry, I'm ignoring Varane because he's actually injured and he can't play. So you've got Harry Maguire as your first choice, then Lindelof, then Bailly. If you can't use Bailly and Lindelof over Harry Maguire when he's not fully fit, then you've got a bit of a problem.
Could you not argue that Ole put himself in that situation with the result
100%.
before the international break? I think that the Villa result, the Everton result, were just not good enough, especially the Everton result, leading and then conceding a lead. Like, Everton were decent, but you still should have.
We haven't played well since we played Leeds at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
That we
second half yesterday was all right by all accounts.
Yeah. All right, fine. We've had one good half for
exactly, but it's 45 minutes, isn't it? You need
exactly.
need the 90. You need a full 90 to actually perform.
The thing with the Atalanta game is it's a completely different complexion because we're quite good when we go down. But the Leicester game is really different. Leicester game's different because we went a goal up, and the Greenwood finish is brilliant, by the way.
Outrageous, really good finish.
He's honestly such a good player. It's so
he's really growing into his own at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a fantastic player. I think he'll be like top 3 strikers in 5 years. But other than that, there's not really many bright lights from that game. Rashford comes back from injury and scores, I guess, is another one. It's just Ronaldo. Tactically really poor. I think a lot of criticism is thrown at Ronaldo that isn't necessarily fair. He doesn't run a lot, right? But he also does when you look at the stats. His pressing doesn't happen, but his sprints and like distance covered is fairly up there.
I'm not debating that, but he's clearly not got the service around him at the moment.
No, he hasn't.
Which is mental, isn't it? When you talk about the players that you just said: Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho, Fernandes, Pogba. I mean, the goal he scored last night, the ball from Luke Shaw was exceptional. Like, that was top quality.
It just seems a bit tactically inept. Which we've been saying about Solskjaer for a while, and there is good and bad to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Clearly, the players will run through a brick wall for the bloke, which is good. The players haven't given up for him, but he doesn't really have the coaching. I don't think he doesn't have the tactics that Klopp, Guardiola, and Tuchel do.
The debate on the Monday Night Football was quite interesting. Like, Carragher and Neville, especially Carragher, was saying he's taken them as far as he can, and he's done a good job of what he had. Like, in retrospect, if he was to go now, you'd go, he did all he could, got them to there. It's time for someone else to take the reins. It's just, who is that someone else? Like, are you going to get a Zidane? Are you going to get potentially a Pochettino or something like that? Do you know what I mean?
Look, it'll be more evidence to talk about next week, because I think the Liverpool game is really important.
Last night's result was the worst result for you, because if you hadn't have won that, well, if you're Ole out, it was the worst result.
He wouldn't have been sacked before the Liverpool game anyway.
But what I think is, if you had lost last night, lost on Sunday, it's a different talking point. Like,
maybe the performance in the first half was bad enough that the second half performance doesn't necessarily cover it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I think it still hangs in the balance a little bit. I am more inclined to let him go, and because, as you said, the squad is in such a better place than it was when he picked it up from Mourinho. It wouldn't be the worst thing for him to move on. But
my only thing is that they backed him so much in the summer. Do they go throw it away after 10 weeks, or do they go, we'll back you for a season? And they go, you've got a season, and we backed you. Like, do they believe in him? Is what I think. Does the summer back in? Was it back in for Ole, or was it back in for Manchester United? Does that make sense?
Well, that's what I was about to say. So at the end of the day, you can back Ole and bring in class players, but the next manager isn't going to complain that you've brought in class players. I mean, Jadon Sancho hasn't hit the ground running yet, but still a class player.
Yeah, it'll be
Rafael Varane is a world-class player, and to be honest, we signed Ronaldo because City were going to sign Ronaldo. The thing with that was a Man United signing.
The thing with Varane is, the best thing you can say to him is, like, he doesn't look out of place. Like, he hasn't had a bedding in period, which is what you always want from a signing, isn't it? I mean, when you're that good, you shouldn't need a bedding in period.
You don't, you don't need it. But I think to finish off on this result, because I could talk about it forever, against a team that are so out of form as Leicester, should have been an easier performance than it was. you don't have balance in midfield when you play Pogba and Matic. You have to play Fred and McTominay. I don't like saying that, but they are the only midfielders that give us any balance.
I mean, Fred's injured now, isn't he?
I think he'll play. I think he'll play at the weekend. But
probably good news for Liverpool. But
no, he'll play. It'll be Fred and McTominay in midfield this weekend. It's whether Rashford comes back from the dead leg, really, I think is the main injury thing. But at the end of the day, he's been out for all but 2 games this season anyway. So wouldn't have necessarily expected him to be back.
2 games, 2 goals though. So you can't complain about that.
Brilliant ball last night. But anyway, that's next. That's last night.
We're probably, the thing is, because I didn't watch the game, I can't give Leicester enough credit probably where it is due, because I mean the Tielemans goal was good, the Vardy goal was good. I mean, I don't know what happened. It was probably partly their decent switching on from Euken scoring and then Vardy scoring literally from the kickoff. That's probably you switched off a bit high, and then Vardy came through.
I think if Harry Maguire's playing anywhere above 50%, then we probably win the game. But at the end of the day, that's on the manager. You can't pick a player.
But at the same time, you can't rely on him for the whole back four.
No, of course you can't.
Wan-Bissaka got absolutely turned by Perez, didn't he? Lindelof defensively doesn't look as good as he needs to be, but going forward is exactly where you want him to be. He could almost drop into that holding midfield spot. He looks like confident in his passing ability. He's that good on the ball. But yeah, it's interesting. As I said, I said last week, I think it's a big result for whoever wins it. But then Leicester have gone and I don't know what they did today or yesterday in the Europa League.
They won. They were 2-0 down, and then Patson Daka scored 4 goals.
Of course, because I was going to mention that, but but it's probably a big result for them because they'll kick on now. They
still need to sort out their defense. Though I mean, they still conceded 2 to us. We were really bad, and they conceded 2 against Spartak yesterday.
But my point is more, we got a result against what is perceived as a good side. Like, you are perceived as a decent team. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah. So it's a great result for them. I'm not saying it isn't.
But this is what I'm saying is they got a good result. So now it's time to kick on. Like, they need to be pushing on this top 4 door as quickly as they can be. They are playing this weekend against, let's have a quick look at our fixture list. They are playing this weekend against Brentford, which will be a good test for them, actually, because Brentford look like a team that could be pushing them for that 5th or 6th spot. Do you know what I mean?
I think Brentford beat them.
Yeah, potentially they do. It takes us quite nicely onto Chelsea. Brentford. There we go. It takes us quite nicely onto Brentford, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Again, this was a bit of it was a game that, as a Liverpool fan, I was frustrated at the result, but with the way Brentford played, it was nice to see that the 3-3 was probably a good result in the general scheme of things this season. Like, Chelsea got away with one because Mendy was on fire, but catch them next week, catch them this week in midweek, they might not have had that luck. Do you know what I mean? So the Liverpool 3-3 is not a bad point in the end of the day. But anyway, that's taken away from Brentford. They were superb, weren't they?
Yeah, Chelsea seem to have a knack of taking 3 points away from teams they shouldn't have done. I mean, exactly. And now Brentford as well.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, it was a good game. Ben Chilwell, good finish actually. Really good finish, I thought.
He's playing really well. Took it well.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of taken that position off Marcus Alonso, which I'm not gutted about, to be honest.
Which is good for the whole wide world, I think.
Exactly. Well, unless Marcus Alonso gets really annoyed, but we'll touch on that another day. We'll touch on that when it comes to it. But yeah, Edouard Mendy, obviously man of the match. Yep. Very, very good. There's not much else to say apart from the fact Brentford were really, really good. Probably not giving them as enough credit as we should. And Chelsea,
Brentford
really, really
worry
bad.
me, really. They're a really, really good team.
The only thing with them is like their will fatigue. Like, Leeds do play similar kind of like high intensity. They don't play anywhere near like the way Leeds do, but like high intensity with not a big enough squad. A lot of their subs have been kind of bringing in good performances for Brentford recently, but at some point that will catch up with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially for a newly promoted team, they'll survive. They're going to be knocking on this European door, it looks like, which is really, really good for them. It's just whether they have enough to take them over the line. I hope they do. And I'm sure at some point we'll cover them a bit more in depth when we've watched them a bit more and we know a little bit more about them. But yeah, it takes us on to, I think there's not much else to talk about from last weekend. We're going to do a big preview probably.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle Spurs was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
because it was amazing for 2 minutes.
Newcastle's new manager bounce was so good it lasted 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or new owner bounce, whatever.
Great goal, actually. First goal.
Yeah, really good goal. I mean, to be fair, that was good. Kane goal was good. Took it well.
Yeah. Ndombele's finish was good. And that's all I saw though. I stopped watching after the cardiac arrest.
Yeah, exactly. Same, because I was just it felt a bit wrong and a bit flat after that. Do you know what I mean? But Ndombele is looking like he's going under the radar. I think he was good last season as well. Like he is really, really,
Which
really
is funny because Nuno clearly really didn't want him this summer. Like he really even said in an interview.
But I think that's really good from Ndombele to go. No, I'm playing. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll train. I don't know what he's like in training. Obviously don't have spies in Tottenham camp, but he's like whenever he plays, he's turning up. Like he's so silky on the ball. Like his feet are so quick. He knows the pass to play. He knows when to take the shot on. Do you know what I mean? He knows when to carry it. He's just like the complete package. When he was getting linked to like Bayern in the summer, I was a bit like, it's a bit of an odd move considering like, but they clearly seen this before and they know he's a good player. Like it wouldn't surprise me if perhaps he end up at like a City or something, maybe for a cut price in a few years. The way he's just really silky on it is good to watch. But yeah, I mean, I completely forgot it was Champions League this week. I think I tried to remove the absolute anti-football I watched played at what is it, the Wanda Metropolitana. But yeah, that's the Premier League. Not much else happened really, did it? I mean, Wolves Villa. I mean, not much else happened. Wolves fans would crucify us if they heard us say that. I mean, come back and a half, but it was scrappy, wasn't it? They were not great. I
saw it 2-0. I was like, oh, good result. And then it wasn't.
my friend's a Wolves fan. He's buzzing, and he was like, it was great because we weren't very good. Like we scored 3 goals in 10 minutes, which completely didn't deserve. Do you know what I mean? So I like how Lars has got them playing though. Like I think I've mentioned it a few times. They've looked decent this season. Whenever I've like kind of caught them, they're just getting unlucky. They're not finishing their chances, but they seem to have found the net a bit more recently.
And Arsenal scraped a Champions League win against Crystal Palace.
Huge win, wasn't it? And the thing is, like with that, like it shows you how far Arsenal have fallen. The fact that I was just like, it's just another game. Like, Arsenal don't push for those European places like they should. Like they really don't. It's frustrating. Like it's frustrating because I like Arsenal as a club. Like, but what else can you do? Everton lost to West Ham, but again, it's just one of those games
that it's a really boring game. I watched the whole thing.
It weren't great, was it? But it's just one of them games. And then I got the annual 5-0 drubbing of Burnley by City wrong. It was only 2-0. Only 2-0, but still.
Yeah, but they brought on their new youth player and he played in that game. And he scored a hat-trick in the under-23s.
Quite funny, wasn't it? Quite funny. But no, it takes us on to the Champions League quite nicely.
Yes.
There we go. City, obviously, they demolished Club Brugge, didn't they? Phil Foden was looking quite the player in that game. Quite the player.
He loves a diagonal, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's found his feet in that Pep system as well, which is really suiting him. You know, I think it's difficult for a player to kind of like cement a place in Pep's team because
no one's ever cemented a place in Pep's team.
But going into the season, you'd have gone like Diaz, but even Diaz has kind of missed out on a few games this season. You'd have probably gone Gundogan, but even Gundogan, even though he's been injured, is still not like, I don't think Pep is still like, yeah, you're my man now. Do you know what I mean? The only player he probably goes De Bruyne, but he's too injured to ever say that. But yeah, I mean, City smashed Bruges. Have you got anything to say on it?
No, I didn't watch a ton of it. I think I watched it until City scored because I was like, it was
the early kickoff, and I was like, who wants to watch a 6 o'clock kickoff in the Champions League? Like, boring. But no, the other game in that group was PSG Leipzig, and we did say last week there'll be goals in that, and there was. It was a bit mental, really, wasn't it? We've got a nice little setup where we can have 2 games on. So we had the City game, not the City game, the Leipzig game and the Liverpool game. And yeah, it was a bit all over the place, wasn't it? Mbappe with the early goal, and then Leipzig turning it around for the 2-1, and then Mr. Champions League number 2, because obviously Ronaldo's number 1, turned up with a lovely little Panenka. I did say on the day, I did go, Messi's dinking this, and he did, and I was like, I'm cool. But yeah, it was, and then Mbappe missing one. But yeah, I mean, PSG, are not as good as they should be.
There's no that I don't think there's any way they can win the Champions League.
It's annoying because Pochettino, I like him, but he's not backing up anyone. Like, he's not allowed. Everyone must get bullied if they back Pochettino because he's so bad. Like, how do you have? Did you see the tweet by Leipzig that was like, it was like PSG confirmed Neymar is missing for tomorrow, and Leipzig tweeted that just leaves Czech's notes, Messi and Mbappe. It's like, you still have Messi and Mbappe, and you only scraped past Leipzig.
Yeah.
Really
you just shove Di Maria on instead, and then you're fine.
Exactly. He brought on Wijnaldum as a sub. Like, they paid 500 grand a week for him, and they brought him on as a sub.
He's not playing.
Like,
he's not happy, is he?
No, he's not. He's not very happy, is he? Poor Genie. Come back. We need you. But no.
Go to Newcastle, mate.
Yeah, he might do. To be fair, I've seen a couple of rumors about that, but no, it's frustrating. I'm interested to see how PSG develop because they're scraping wins in the Liga. I mean, it's surely, we're going to say it every week, it's surely a matter of time before they click.
Messi, yeah, I was going to say Messi still hasn't scored in the league. But he's
weird, isn't it?
Champions League.
I was going to say stat pad in the Champions League. Bit odd, bit of an odd way to do it, Leo. But it's all right. But no, that takes us on to Ajax Dortmund 4-0. Bit of a surprise that. Again, I don't know enough about these teams to comment. I mean, obviously Dortmund are I know a little bit more about because of Haaland. So it's a bit weird that I kind of turned it on and they're getting smacked 4-0. I don't know if you saw any of this.
Ten Hag is just that he's just a brilliant manager, isn't he? And plus, they just have such a balance of like pace and maturity in that team, and like young players.
Yeah,
like I think man of the match was Dali Blind.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, what a baller he still is, man.
Yeah,
he's one of the players I'm really frustrated didn't work at United because
he was really perfect for you right now.
Yeah, he was really good at centre back when he played well in left back when Luke Shaw was injured for the eternity he was injured. He'd slot into that midfield role. I mean, to be fair, he's quite old now, but
he still would do your job. Do you know?
No, he's silky, mate. If you're beating Dortmund 4-0 in the Champions League,
we played Ajax last season, and he was decent. When we played. I'm hoping he played because if he didn't play, I'm going to look really stupid. But no, yeah. There's not many other results from the Tuesday that really take my eye apart from the Liverpool Atletico game. And I assume you did watch this. You texted me, didn't you, during the game?
Yeah, I texted you Mario Hermoso with 2 laughing faces.
Yeah, such an idiot. I mean, it was a crazy game. It was not really what I expected with the first 25 was not what I expected at all. We went 2-0 up quite quick. It was very weird. The 2 goals followed very similar fashion. Like our goal with the Mo Salah shot, Milner. I don't know if it hit Milner. I still don't know if it hit Milner. I can't figure it out. And then the Keita strike, which was like worldy. Like, what's he doing with that? I was surprised his leg didn't snap off as he hit it. But then Atletico hit back with their goal, which is offside. Like, surely. I don't know if you've seen it. Like, what do you think?
No, I turned it on at half time because I was like, this game's 2-2, that's mental. Turned it on at half time. Then Griezmann got sent off, and I was like, right, this changes the complexion a little bit. And then you got a penalty. Then I turned it off again because I was like, I can't watch a game that Liverpool winning.
The first goal, yeah. So Koke shoots, and it takes a deflection off Griezmann, and he's like standing about 2 yards out of the goal.
Right.
Basically, Lamar is behind him and he's behind Matip. So Lamar is offside. And as Lamar's running, he like runs in Matip's like next to Matip. And Matip is the only defender that could stop the ball. And basically, if Matip kicks out to stop the ball, he's wiping out Lamar. And it's like, so Lamar is directly influencing the defender. Like the defender cannot complete the action because if he does, he's getting sent off. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he's definitely offside, and it's so obvious. How have they not found that? Again, it doesn't matter now. It's just one of them things that you're watching the game. At the time, I was like, he might be offside, but we were playing quite well at the time. We were keeping the ball quite well. We didn't look phased by the fact we were at the Wonder, and I was like, look, we'll be all right. And then João Felix turned into like prime Messi for like 2 minutes. I mean, he was playing Naby Keita. He's played 6 games in like 2 days. So, But yeah, I mean, Van Dijk was in a little bit of no man's land, but
he did get a bit wiped for that second goal.
It's frustrating because I watched it and I went, oh my God, Van Dijk is like all over the place. And then I'm like, Why is he covering 35 yards in his own penalty area?
I mean, he
Like,
stood the
on his
wrong way
own.
round is the problem. If he stood facing the ball, then he intercepts it without
But
a problem. But because
he
he's
also needs
backtracking, it's a
he also
problem.
needs Matip there. Matip's like 20 yards out of position, and it's like you've just let him, like you've just left your centre back with Griezmann. Like, why would you do that? Like, even if it's Van Dijk, why do you do that? It's very odd.
Yeah,
And then obviously, as you said, the penalty, which is like a Stonewall penalty,
yeah. It's so dumb. I
and
can't
then
even.
the red card, which is a Stonewall red card.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's a red card. I'm not gonna ever complain about it. I don't think it's Griezmann's fault
If he'd booked him,
right.
they'd have gone to VAR and they'd have gone, it's not a red card. I'd have gone, I can see why. He doesn't ever see Firmino,
No,
but he kicks him in the face. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, if Firmino's head is 10, like half a foot to a foot lower, I'm like, maybe, but he's
yeah.
standing full height.
Intent is completely irrelevant in that
Yeah,
situation. It's just a red card. I don't think
exactly.
there was much to complain about there.
And then it's that Liverpool pen, which is like, I can't believe that's got overturned. Like, I cannot believe that's got overturned. I'm not complaining, but oh my God, like, I watched it. There's like so many angles. I'm like, yeah, it's a pen. Like, Jota obviously like does the little, and then there's one angle where Jimenez is running across him. It's like the above angle, and he's running across him, and it almost looks like Jota's like just moving out the way. It's the only reason I could think they've overturned that, because it's like it's the exact same thing, and it's just like it's so weird. Obviously, I'm not complaining. We've gone and got a win at the Wonder, which you can't complain about. They hadn't lost there in like 4 years in the Champions League, and they haven't lost. They've only lost one in their last 40 at home, so it's like that's a huge result going there and winning. Gives us massive momentum going into the weekend, which is against your team, who beat Atlanta, as we mentioned, 3-2 on Wednesday night. Talk us through it, because I do assume you watched this one.
I watched the whole game. Wow, I watched the whole game of football.
Torture.
Yeah, I know, right? You should have seen me half time. Anyway, so first goal, Palasic. And I should point out, right, United are not playing badly in the first half. In attack, we're actually being quite adventurous. We're playing different, kind of attacking forms that we hadn't been playing at the weekend, which was a problem. But the problem is Victor Lindelof doesn't follow Palasic into the box at all. And they score from it, which is really disappointing. But we don't keep clean sheets around in the red half of Manchester, so I was expecting that anyway. The really disappointing one is Demiril's goal, because he was giving it large the whole of the first half. Like, he was like, when defenders are just like assholes sometimes. He was doing Ramos. That the whole, kind of. But Ramos kind of earns that arseholery, because he's been one of the best. This is fucking. He moved from Juventus to Atlanta to cover for Romero. He doesn't necessarily start for Tottenham. And he's been giving it large, and he scores. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And honestly, at half time, for that second goal, I must have had my head in my hands for like 2 straight minutes. And then it's half time, and I'm like, this is appalling. My dad messages me, and he's like, can't get much worse from here. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. But the second half is just the epitome of what Man United are at the moment. Second half merchants, really. We have been. We were last season, and I mean, it's a brilliant second half. You bring Pogba on, and Bruno plays a lot better, which is strange because the Bruno Pogba thing hasn't been working at all this season.
Yeah.
But again, I have to make sure that I give Ollie credit where it's due, because otherwise I'm just going to be one of these people that just get, lambasts him for stuff that he doesn't deserve. But the subs that he made yesterday won the game. Don't think there's any doubt of that. They might not have scored the goals, but by bringing on Pogba, you get more forward passing that McTominay doesn't give you.
For sure.
Which, it just gets the ball to our forward players a lot quicker. Bruno plays an incredible through ball to Marcus Rashford for his goal. It's a genius piece of football. Great finish. 2-1. Aaron Maguire. Oh wow. For his goal, we took a quick corner and it was woeful. There was no one
You
in the
hate that as
box.
well.
There was like one person in the box, and he's taking a quick corner. I'm like, Bruno, what are you doing, mate? We're down by one, and then it kind of just bounces back out again, and just whip it back in. Harry Maguire's just stood there on his own, like back post, and you're like, well, this is the worst possible person this could have fallen to, but he just like throws his saucepan foot at it and it goes in, which is nice.
Don't you find it like so annoying when you've got a corner and it's like there's still like half hour left? Like, boys, we do it. Like, come on. Right, we'll be fine. Like, don't do that. And that, like, you look in the box and there's like, for when it's like Naby Keita on his own in the box, I'm like, what's the point? Like, he's not winning that header.
Yeah, and the important thing for the last goal is that he brought on Cavani first to absolutely run the shit out of him. And then you bring on Jadon Sancho after you've brought on Cavani to just run at him for a bit.
Yeah,
and then they're obviously tired by the end of the game, and as you said earlier, the ball to Ronaldo from Luke Shaw is perfect. It's just perfect. And I mean, he did miss a sitter. Well, not a sitter. He missed one that you kind of expect him to score earlier on in the game, but he doesn't miss those.
Yeah, I was doing some uni work for a little bit the second half, and I saw a tweet that was like, they tweeted something and they got some stat wrong in it, and they went, sorry about that. Still can't believe.
Oh yeah, it was BBC. I read it and I was like, oh, fuck off. But yeah, he doesn't miss those.
Yeah,
he's quite good in the Champions League.
Yeah, he is. It's stat padding as well, like Lionel. Yeah, but he scored in the league, so it's all right.
Yeah, honestly, as much as people complain about him midweek and not running, and people were questioning it, he was running like a demon in the 90th minute.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good from him. Like, and then he went ref, blow the full-time ref whistle, and the ref was like, "Nah, oh wait, you're Ronaldo. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, blow the whistle, fine.
Yeah.
And people will say that it's paving over cracks, and it kind of was, because the first half was a really, really bad performance, and at the end of the day, Paul Scholes was saying at the end of the game, he was like, the first half put me in the mood. The fact that we've won is kind of irrelevant. There's problems there, and there is, but there has to be some admiration for the way that they came out in the second half and the subs that were made. And as I said to you earlier, I think that second half does show that, unlike with Mourinho and Van Gaal, the players they haven't lost any of their goal to play for Ollie. They like Ollie. He just needs to sort out how he wants them to play and sort out some defensive issues. So I think there is some hope in the Man United camp. But this Liverpool game at the weekend is really, really important.
Yeah, it is big. Yeah. I think we can round off the Champions League talk there, because not much else happened that you wouldn't really expect that's out of the ordinary. Do you know what I mean? So I think that we can go quite nicely onto the weekend, which is obviously the big one, which is Liverpool Man United on the Sunday. I think we'll speak about this for a bit. How are you feeling approaching the game? I always look for this one in the calendar. It's the only one I ever look for, really. I don't really care about the Everton game, because the Everton game always falls at weird times, and I'm like, it's going to get moved. So, but the United game, I'm always like, I know that's going to be 4:30 on a Sunday. So how are you feeling going into this?
I'm not confident, because you can't be confident after. I mean, if we were playing you and we played that same first half that we played yesterday, we'd have been 7 down going into half time. And you can't do that against a team that have the quality you do. Saying that, you don't really play that well at Old Trafford.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the last time we were there, we hit that. We obviously come away with a 4-2, which gives me a little bit, because the thing is, in football, you've always got these like hoodoos. Do you know what I mean? You've always got like the Klopp had never won at Old Trafford, so it was like the Old Trafford hoodoo, and it's like, just break it somehow, and it was perfect to break it with no fans in the stadium. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would have been nice to have them there, but without the United fans there, it was always going to be slightly easier to get a result. In sense, like, especially because you weren't playing for anything at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of gifted us the top four, which was quite nice.
You're welcome.
But it's all right. I like playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and not Thursdays, to be honest with you, mate. But no, it's interesting, because as you were saying, it's like we always say, like, the first half, you can never play that bad twice. Do you know what I mean? You always say that. But it almost feels like with this United, you can, like, every week it's like United have been bad in this first half, or the second half was poor, letting a sloppy goal right at the end. You know what I mean? Like, especially the Villa and the Everton games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's like a correct assessment. It just doesn't feel like you can put a 90 together, which worries me, because it's like who better to do it against than Liverpool, that again a lot of praise, that have just gone to the Atletico. Do you know what I mean? Like I almost feel like I need to like do some praying, or like get rid of some voodoo when I'm talking about this afterwards, because I hate talking about it before. You know what I mean? Just like doing this is the worst thing I could do. But yeah,
Look,
I mean,
Ollie always leans forward when he's really in trouble.
yeah,
I think he's kind of at that point. I think he
sure.
really would have been at that point if we hadn't have won. But the manner of the win wasn't emphatic.
Yeah,
It was a classic game in that it was a great comeback, but it wasn't a good game for us. So I think he's under the microscope still. So everything will be at this game.
yeah. It has all the makings, doesn't it? All the makings of a
Yeah,
classic. Like Liverpool playing really well, United needing a result. Because the thing is, we did mention it yesterday, which it slipped away after about the 20th minute. Not yesterday, Tuesday when we were watching it. The commentator said something like, "Oh, this Liverpool team are oozing confidence," and me and my brother went, "Oh, to be fair, we are." Like whenever anyone had the ball, it was like this is finding someone's feet, and especially against Watford, like it was just like no worries. Like we'll get a clean sheet here. We've come here. We're going to win the game. I mean, when you've got Salah in the form you've got him, he scored 9 in a row, which is the first time anyone has ever done that for Liverpool, which is mental. But like when you've got Salah in that form, especially given the fact we know he can score goals, is like it's crazy. And especially the fact Firmino has looked much better, much improved recently. And even with our slight, I'd say defensive like worries, not defensive midfield worries, in terms of like it seems to be the area we're getting a bit of injury in at the moment, a little bit of problems. We've still got Fabinho. Do you know what I mean? Like he just feels like at the moment the centerpiece of everything, like the little linchpin that makes everything go in these big games. So it's going to be interesting to see how he deals coming up against Ronaldo, Fernandes, and people like that.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo's an interesting one because this is his first like big game in the Premier League, really.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Well, it's not his it's not his first big game in the Premier League. First big game in the Premier League since coming back. So that'll be interesting.
And it would be against Van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be against Van Dijk. You've got City next soon, haven't you?
We've got all the other five
because City, Van Dijk, Diaz versus Ronaldo will be interesting. But yeah,
I think that'd be less interesting than Van Dijk versus Ronaldo.
Because the thing is that we've Alisson looked really good at the weekend on Tuesday as well, which is like it's like I think Paul Scholes said it at the weekend. He said, if your keeper played well and was man of the match, did you really play well? And it was like, to be fair, I don't think we played as well as we could have done, but we come away from there with a result, and that's what you have to do. Yeah. And we did have periods of really, really good football, and we just played Atletico at their own game. We didn't have to go hammer and tong. We didn't have to. Well, we did go hammer and tong in a different way. We didn't have to go, let's score 20 goals, or like let's score 5 and make sure they score 4. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite nice. It has the makings of a classic. It's really interesting. I just wonder how you see it going. As an honest review, like you could, you can give a biased one if you want. But
no, there's a lot of like points to consider, like the way that players play, and against Liverpool in particular. I mean, David De Gea loves a game against Liverpool.
He does.
And he's already on fire, which is a good thing for us, obviously. That doesn't mean we won't concede, because we will. So that means to me that we have to score 2 to win the game, at least. Because we won't not consider that. I don't see. I'm Doctor Stranging. I'm looking at all 14 million possibilities. There's no way that we don't concede a goal. And I think of it as, do we score 2 goals against Liverpool as badly as we have played at Old Trafford this season? I don't think the answer is yes. So I think we lose 2-1.
Wow.
I think that might change if we manage to
nick an early one or something.
Pull Varane back in. I think it would be really important if we can.
Do you think he could be fit?
Varane would be in. No, I don't. But
is it one of them ones you go like, is it a 75% Varane and potentially if he doesn't make it through the game, he's out for a lot longer, or is it like we've got to have him fit? Do you know what I mean? Is it one of them? Is it like, do we risk 6 weeks for one game, or do we just go, look, we've got 11 boys who we believe in? Do you know what I mean? Because there's been so many times recently that I felt like with Klopp, it's like, just play him. Like, it doesn't matter, just play him. But he never does, and it's like, it's always for the benefit of the team. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it's not a game that I'm worried about, because I don't think you need to worry about these big games, because if you lose, it's nowhere near as embarrassing as if you lose to Norwich, but
to Leicester.
And if you win, well,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But if you win, it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
So I don't actually tend to get until day. Then I'm shitting it. I'm having a Danny Dyer kind of.
What have I got
myself into?
The thing is, because it's at 4:30 as well, you've got to wait the whole day. It's like nothing happens until 3:30, and because that's when the teams come out. And I'm just like, what do I do? Like, I can't stop thinking about. I'll be like, let's switch off. Let's just like watch some TV, and I'm like, let's watch highlights. And I'm like, why do I do this to myself? But no,
I think I do think it'll be a good game. I don't think you get many boring games between United and Liverpool, really.
There's been a few recently, especially at Old Trafford. We've had a couple of like, I mean, the one at Anfield weren't great earlier in the year as well.
God, no, that was woeful.
But I mean, the last time we went to you with fans was that one where we scored in like the 85th minute. I literally turned that game off. I never turn off football. Yeah, I never turn off the like the Liverpool United games. And I was like, I can't watch this.
Often.
Like I was like, I'm gonna be sick if I carry on watching this. Like I don't know why, but yeah, it's huge. Like it is big. I think I've got to say Liverpool win, but it's always I'm always like the most pessimistic. Like Tove's dad and we'll text the group, and I'll just be like, and they'll be like, oh, what do you think? Tomes was like, yeah, win, like easily. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I just score. Like, please don't make me go to bed thinking, oh fuck, we lost to Manchester United today. Do you know what I mean? Like, just get a result, get out of there, done. Like, we've played all the top three. Do you know what I mean? I just want to finish this off by saying, with you, because of the unfortunate results you've had recently in terms of the drop in points where you potentially don't want to drop points, it does make this game a lot bigger, because as I was saying earlier, we win, we're 7 points ahead of you already. And that's, I know that, I don't know if your aim is still winning the league, or if it's top four, if it's still challenging, I don't know. But 7 points for any aim that you want ever against Liverpool is never good, especially only 9 games into a season. So I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I'm not really bothered about the league anymore. Really, as long as we don't, like, I guess as long as you finish in the top 4, I'm not really that bothered.
That's interesting, because I don't know where that sees Ole at the end of the season. I say Ole. I don't know where that sees him at the end of the season.
To be honest, I don't think the board are that bothered. I mean, our targets have always been just finish in the Champions League, and kind of do that. So I don't think that leaves Ole in a troubling situation, really, with the strength of the other teams. If we were to finish 4th or 3rd, I think that'd be a problem for him. I think it'd be a problem for me. I think it'd be disappointing, but I don't think it would be enough for him to be sacked. But actually, I don't think if he's going to be sacked this season, I think he'll be sacked before the season finishes anyway.
Yeah, so. I think Christmas could be a very telling time for him. I think that could be massive. I don't know who you're playing, but I think that's the period where they go, we need results. Like,
well, again, for me, it's talk to me next week and see if we beat you or if we lost to you badly. Because if we lost to you,
if you beat us, we're not doing this next week. The show's cancelled, everything's deleted.
No, I was saying this to Bethan yesterday. I was like, I think we're probably the most mild-mannered United and Liverpool fans as mates. So because I think I put it down to, in the time that I've known you, Liverpool and United have both been equally shit in that time.
Exactly.
I know that if I take the piss out of you for Liverpool being shit, at some point it's going to come back at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we will be as shit. So I just I don't bother. There's no point.
Luckily, recently we've been a lot better. Like, from like the time I can kind of remember, like when I was younger, we were not good. And it was like, there was the period where I really got into it and we were really bad. Like, there was just before we challenged for the league, I was a bit more into it than I was when I was like 7 or 8. I always obviously like loved it, but I just don't have memory of it. I remember goals, I remember stuff like this, but I really got into it and I'm like, we were so bad. I remember playing like Notts County in the League Cup and watching it and being like, yes, we scored a goal. Do you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have had to celebrate that as like a 14-year-old Liverpool fan or something like that.
Yeah,
No,
I feel really, really emotionally connected to football at the moment. I don't know why. I feel like it's
yeah,
because at my uni, there's just no one that cares about football, so I don't have
yeah.
that kind of outlet. I was I knee slid when Harry Maguire scored yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, fully. I went bonkers when Ronaldo scored because
No,
at the end I don't. It's not me like because I'd have been not content if we'd lost because I think that would have put more pressure on Ollie, and I think we need a better manager. But at the end of the day, I support Man United, so I'm going to go bonkers if we win a game.
I was gonna say,
from the situation we were in. So
I think it's one of those things that like the past years kind of like put us in this situation. Like there was that point with the Super League where we played Leeds, and I was like, I literally couldn't care less what happens today because I was like, I just don't know. Like the last 5 years of my life have been amazing. Like watching Liverpool, I've been to a few games. I've been like I've been on top of the world because of Liverpool, and it's like, and now that's just not going to exist for the next however long in my life. Do you know what I mean? I was like, until I like Liverpool could be playing fourth tier football. It's cool because we can get tickets a lot easier, but like I might not be seeing Liverpool do this again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I think that was it, and then the way it come back with the fans and stuff like that, I'm properly into it, and I think it's also like third year of uni, like everything's hitting.
Yeah.
It's like I've got to like something, like it's not education, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell do I do? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is good. I am probably invested. I mean, like I've never felt like so like connected to a group of players that I do. The Liverpool team, like Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Jordan Henderson, Trent, they're just all legends. So it's just like and even like throughout football, there's just people that I love watching play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still love watching Messi play. Mbappe, I love watching him play and stuff like that. Coutinho, I still keep an eye out for him. But it's like if I watch you play, it's good. Like, I don't know if you feel the same, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's always going to be players that you have that connection with, and it's just good that they're still playing and that we can have that emotional connection. A lot of people just don't understand it, and that just makes me smile.
Exactly.
Really,
he plays for your team. The player that you adore plays for your team. That's
I know.
Isn't it? Like I couldn't get over that, but no. Yeah, this
small shout out to Plymouth, by the way, top of League One, knocking on the door of the Championship. And they played in like biblical rain the other day. Like I was
small shout out to Bournemouth as well. They're top of the Championship.
Yeah, true.
Knocking on the door.
God, look at us go picking our uni cities like
look at
down.
Look at that.
No, I was like watching the rain out my window the other day, like, oh, this is mental. And then it hadn't occurred to me that Plymouth were playing because I knew they were, and I just hadn't put two and two together that it would have been horrible because the stadium's like a mile down the road from where I live. I was like, oh my god, it must be. And then you sent me the video of the goal, and it's just one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
But Bournemouth playing in Stoke, and I don't think it was too bad up there, but the weather here was awful. And then I told you, didn't I? And I was like, I just forgot that the whole South Coast just gets it all at the same time. You know what I mean?
Like I've been to a Plymouth game that was like, we were there and the ref hadn't made a decision whether the game was going to be called off or not yet. And we were like sat in the stands, and they come out to like warm up. And the reason was the wind was so bad. It was pissing it down, but the wind was so bad. Like corner flags were just constantly like this. And then the ref comes out, like studs the floor, and then just walks back in again. And the stadium announcer is like, game confirmed to carry on. And we were like, oh, let's go. It was mad though. Like it's like this Premier League. I mean, pitches in the Premier League are a lot better, but they've been called off in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt.
That rain was unreal, wasn't it? The other day, that goal is like peak English football. Did you see the Portsmouth fans? They were chanting, like the game obviously wasn't like interesting them that much.
Yeah.
They were just chanting, "We've got the ball." And then when they lost it, they were just going, "We've lost the ball." It was so good. There's like a minute of play, and they're just like hoofing it back and forth. It's so funny. It's so good.
I do love going to Plymouth games. They're so much fun.
Yeah, and I need to get to more Bournemouth games actually. But yeah, no, that was a really, really good podcast actually. I think we've covered a lot there. And a nice little chat at the end there. There we go. If you made it this far, if you could like, comment, and subscribe. If you could share it as well. Let's get it sharing. Where are we? We're October the 21st today, aren't we?
Yes.
By Christmas, 25 subs. We want to double the sub count by Christmas if we can. So if you, I'm going to be pushing it a lot more. I hope Jamie will. I hope Toby, who came on with, I'll get Jacob to do another tweet if he can. But if you listen to this, copy the link, whack it on Facebook, whack it on Instagram, whack it on wherever you can. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Cheers.